Good morning everyone. Welcome to my channel. Today we are going to begin Wren and Martin's High School English Grammar and Composition. This book is very important for the basic understanding of English language and its correct usage in daily life. It will certainly form the foundation of your English grammar. So let's begin with episode 1. We will focus on two chapters here. The first chapter is on the sentence and the second chapter is on subject and predicate. Let's proceed to the first slide. Look at the screen. It tells us something simple yet essential. That when we speak or write, we use words. We all know this. But we don't use single or isolated words. Instead, we group words together to express a complete thought. To see this in action, let's look at the classic example here. Little Jack Horner sat in a corner. When we read that, we immediately understand a full and clear idea. We know who it is about and what he did. Okay? There is no missing information. Every word works together. That is the key. A random group of words like sat, corner, in a does not make sense. But Little Jack Horner sat in a corner does. And that is precisely what a sentence is. That means a sentence is a group of words that together makes a complete sense. This is the first important idea that you should always remember by heart. Okay? Now let's move on to the next slide. Yes, we already know what a sentence is. Now let's explore the different kinds of sentences. Not all sentences are the same. They serve different purposes. In fact, sentences can be classified into 4 main kinds, each with its own unique rules. Just look at the infographics here. At the left side, I have given the 4 different types of sentences. Okay. First, we have declarative or assertive sentences. There are the most common type. They simply make a statement or assert a fact. That's why they are called assertive sentences. They tell us something. They give us some information. For example, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. It is a straightforward statement. No question is there. No command is there. Just information and a statement. The second one is interrogative sentences. These are the question askers. Their job is to ask questions and seek information. Like, where do you live? That means that is a question. You can always spot this by the question mark at the end. That means at the beginning you will find a WH word and at the end you will find a question mark here. Third one is we have imperative sentences. These sentences give commands, make requests and express earnest prayers. In this book we find it as entreaty. For instance, be quiet. It is a command. Similarly, have mercy upon us. It is a sincere request or entreaty. Often the subject you is understood but not stated here. If I'll ask that in be quiet in this sentence, what is the subject here? But actually you is the subject here. But it is only understood and it is not explicitly stated. Okay. Finally, we have exclamatory sentences. As we know, they are emotional ones. They express strong feelings and emotions like surprise, joy, anger or excitement. And they always end with an exclamation mark. Yes, I have given the exclamation marks in green color and you can find them out. The examples are how cold the night is or what a shame. So in summary, we have declarative sentences for stating facts, interrogative sentences for asking questions, imperative sentences for giving commands or requests, and exclamatory sentences for expressing strong emotions. Okay. Now let us move on to the next slide. Yes, this slide is about subject and predicate. So we have seen that sentences can do different things. They can state, ask, command or exclaim. Now let's look at what every sentence is made of. Every complete sentence is built from 2 essential parts. Okay, let's look at the definition on the screen. When we make a sentence, we do 2 things. First, we name some person or thing, and second, we say something about that person or thing. In simple terms, we must have a subject, that's who or what we are talking about, and we must have a predicate. That's what we say about the subject. Okay. So every sentence is a combination of these two. That means the subject plus the predicate makes a complete sentence. Think of it like this. The subject answers the question who or what is this about, and the predicate answers what about it. Together they create a complete thought, a complete sentence. Okay. Now let's go to the next slide. The current slide is about the two parts of every sentence. So let's make it even clearer. From what we just learned, we can now confidently say every single sentence has exactly two parts. First, the subject. This is the part that names the person or thing we are speaking about. It answers the question who or what is the sentence about. And the second one is the predicate. This is the part that tells something about the subject. It answers the question what is being said about the subject. So whether a sentence is long or short, simple, compound or complex, it will always contain these two building blocks. A subject to tell us who or what, and a predicate to tell us what about it. Okay? Without both, a group of words simply is not a complete sentence. Okay? So now let's go to the next slide. Yes, in this present slide, we will discuss about some examples and we will break them down. Okay, now let's apply what we have learned by breaking down two clear examples. Look at the first sentence. The boy stood on the burning deck. Just ask yourself, who is this sentence about? The answer is the boy. That's our subject. Similarly, what is being said about the boy? He stood on the burning deck. This is a predicate. So subject, that is the boy who we are speaking about, and predicate, that is stood on the burning deck, what he did. Okay, now let's try another sentence. This one has a slightly different order. Sweet are the uses of adversity. Here the predicate comes first, sweet are, and the subject follows the uses of adversity. Even though the order is flipped, the two parts are still there. Subject, the uses of adversity, and predicate, sweet are. This shows us that while the subject usually comes first, sometimes it can come after the predicate too. But in both cases, subject and predicate are always present in a sentence. Okay? In this slide, I have given a special example sentence not from the book. This is for basic understanding. This is an interrogative sentence and what we call a yes-no question. Well-known images are given here. Just look at it. The question is, find out the subject and predicate here in the sentence. Was light wrong or right? Here the subject is light and the predicate is was wrong or right. Okay. Now let's move on to this slide is about the position of the subject. We have already seen that every sentence has a subject and a predicate. Now let's talk about where the subject usually appears. In most sentences, the subject comes first, followed by the predicate. But English is flexible and sometimes the subject can come after the predicate also. Let's look at two examples from the book. First, here comes the bus. Here comes the bus is the predicate and the bus is actually the subject, but it is placed after the verb. Similarly, the second example is sweet are the uses of adversity. We just analyzed this. Sweet are is the predicate and the uses of adversity is the subject, again following the predicate. So the general rule is subject first, but not always. Now there is a special case, that is the case of imperative sentences. In commands like sit down or thank him, the subject you is not written or spoken, but it is understood. So when we say sit down, we really mean you sit down. When we say thank him, we really mean you thank him. The subject is implied here, so we all know who the command is for. So to summarize, usually subject comes first and predicate next. But sometimes predicate also comes first before the. Now let's quickly review what we have learned so far with this helpful reference table. Here we see all four kinds of sentences we discussed earlier, now in a clear side-by-side format. Okay. First, the declarative sentence. Its purpose is to state a fact or make an assertion. For example, the sun rises in the east. It is straightforward and informative. Now let's go to the second one, that is the interrogative sentence. This one asks a question to seek information. For example, where do you live? You will recognize it by the question mark. Then the third is the imperative sentence. This type gives a command or makes a request. For example, close the door. Here, the subject you is understood and it is not explicitly stated. And finally, the exclamatory sentence. This shows strong emotions and feelings like surprise, joy, or excitement. For example, what a beautiful day. It always ends with an exclamation mark. So, whether you are stating, asking, commanding, or exclaiming, you now know the 4 essential roles a sentence can play. Okay? Now, let's go to the next slide. This slide is a summary of key points. Let's bring everything together with a quick recap of the key points from chapter 1 and 2. From chapter 1, we learned 2 foundational ideas. First one is a sentence must make complete sense. It's a group of words that expresses a full thought. And the second, sentences come in 4 kinds. Declarative sentences state facts. Interrogative sentences ask questions. Imperative sentences give commands or make requests. And exclamatory sentences express strong emotions and feelings. From chapter 2, we explored the structure of every sentence. Every sentence has 2 essential parts, a subject and a predicate. The subject tells us who or what the sentence is about, and the predicate tells us what is said about the subject. Together, these 2 chapters give us the why, what, and how of sentences. Okay? And this is the very foundation of clear communication in English. Now, this is the end of this episode. Finally, thanks for watching. Kindly consider subscribing my channel. I will come with new and informative videos like this in each episode. Do your work, believe in God, and stay positive.